New comments will appear here in real time for everyone to see. Somebody make a comment. How's everybody doing? It's a lovely day. Sun is shining. There's not a cloud in sight. It's not raining. Thank you, BioCow, for your astute comment. I have been doing all of our monthly Patreon posts. I have to do this every month. I have to go on to... Well, the first of the month is always the more complicated one. I think there wasn't enough DTNS when it was 5 days a week. Well, it's still 5 days a week, Fred, but I know what you mean. Hello, binary digit. So on the first of the month, I have to do payroll. That's paying Roger, Sarah, and me. Other people just invoice me, and I pay them when they invoice me. But I have to pay us three on the regular, 1st and the 15th of every month. So I have to do payroll, and because it's the first, I have to do all the Patreon. I have to pay y'all. So that means going and getting new art from Len Peralta, which goes to the analyst level it up. Making that big monthly briefing post that I just posted where I describe all the stuff that's coming up, and I have to check with Roger, do I get to live with it stuff right? Is this the right schedule? And then look at the guests and get the best of YouTube link from Joe, which he already gave me yesterday. So that was easy. Yeah. So that's what I was doing up until right this second. And one of the things I had to get together was we're doing the listener co-host show a little differently. LCH, listener co-host. We are going to have a live special on December 24th. That will be our listener co-host show. But instead of having people come on and we interview them, which is one of the things we've done in the past. Past couple of years, we've tried playing a game, which was fun. But this year, we're just going to do tech memories. So if you don't want to do a tech memory, you could do a tech gift you want, because it's the day before Christmas. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, you probably have some tech that you want to get. So we're timing it there to be like, what tech would you like to get as a gift? And then you can also choose to tell a story about tech you got as a gift when you were a kid. So we'll all do it. Me and Jason and Sarah and Roger and Rob. We'll all go down our own memory lanes. We're asking that you either record it and send it to us, or a few people we will get on the show live to tell us their story. Not everybody who asks to be on the show live will get on live. We got a whole thing about all the details over at dailytechnewsshow.com/LCH for listener co-host. Pre-recorded is probably the best way. If you're like, I want to make sure I get on there. And somebody like RW Nash, who, by the way, did further reviews of different drinks in his mug and his pint glass, which is fantastic. Thank you for doing that, man. You could just do what you've been doing for that. Send us the link and then we'll play the video. We ask that they be 60 seconds or shorter, just so we can fit as many in as possible. And then you can also do audio. We'll just play the audio. But you can use the send voicemail button. I don't know if you've seen this, but we have this little send voicemail button on the website. And when you click it, you can do a recording right there on your device, whether it's a phone or a laptop or whatever, and send it to us that way. However you get it to us, we'll play as many of them live as possible. And then as long as they're acceptable, and it's not just 60 seconds of you cursing at me, which none of you would do, I know, but we have to draw that line of we have to decide it's okay to play, but we're going to play as many of them as possible. We will put those in the post show. So even if it doesn't make it in the live show, we'll add them on to the on-demand one so that so that you get in the show, even if we run out of time. So that's the best way, is to do the pre-recorded thing and send it to us that way. Or if you're like, no, I want to do it live, I'm up for the challenge, I can keep it 60 seconds and still be live. You can message us through Patreon to request to join the show. We're limiting it to people who follow us on Patreon, just to kind of make it manageable. And if you're selected, so maybe make a little pitch about what you want to talk about, because we're going to have a limited number of slots that we'll do for the live. If you're selected, then we'll schedule a test session, make sure you've got camera and mic and all of that works good. And then on the day of, we will send you the link to join when it's your turn, and you have to join right then. If the tech doesn't work, which it might not, you just have to be willing to live with that amount of uncertainty, but hopefully it'll work. And then you're on live, and then you say thanks and happy holidays and all of that stuff and go your own way. So we want to offer the live thing for people who want to do it. But we understand that's not for everybody, and we want to make sure you understand what you're getting into when you ask for live. So we're doing the on-demand thing too. That way more people can participate as well, because I know not everybody wants to be live. And the other thing that was daunting for some people, like, I don't want to do a 10-minute interview. Like, a lot of people did. Don't get me wrong. But there were a lot more people who are like, yeah. So pre-recording lets you just, make something on your own time and send it to us. So that's all up at dailytechnewsshow.com/LCH. It's also in the monthly update on Patreon, and we'll be mentioning it elsewhere as well. So yeah, there we go. That's the Listener Co-Host Show that will be coming on Wednesday, December 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's the other thing. This is not the 1 p.m. Pacific time, the 4 p.m. Eastern time that we do this and DTNS Live and all of that. This is the DTNS time of 10 a.m. Pacific, which is not usually live, but in this case, it will be. So there you go. Those are the details on the Listener Co-Host Show. Spread the word far and wide. I have messaged everyone on Patreon. You know what? I need to message people on Substack. That's the one thing I didn't get. That's one thing I didn't do before I went live here. So anyway, I will do that as well. But there you go. That is the Listener Co-Host Show. Now, that is not the only show that we're doing for the holidays. That's the last live show before the break. But then on Friday, December 26th, we're recording this one ahead of time on the 19th, just to be honest. But on the 26th, we will run gift support. This was Roger's idea. It's a great idea. Tech support tips and free stuff for your new devices. So if you got a new device and you are wondering why it's not working, or you're the person in the house, which is probably likely for a lot of you folks that is the tech support person. We're going to provide resources and ways to do troubleshooting and online help and free stuff. Like, I got a new thing. How do I get free games or free apps? All that kind of stuff. So that is Friday, December 26th. Saturday, December 27th, it will be our end of the year summary show with me and Jen Cutter. We've been doing these at the end of the month. I did it with Jason Howell this month because Jen was sick, but Jen will be back and we'll do the entire year. We're gonna sum up the whole year for you on December 27th. Monday, December 29th is the best of 2025. Joe's working hard editing that. Tuesday, December 30th is the predictions results show, where all the people who did the prediction show last year will check in on their predictions. December 31st will be the predictions show. Don't know who's going to be on that this year yet, but we will have a predictions show for 2026. No show on Thursday, January 1st because of the holiday. And then our return to live is Friday, January 2nd with a live CES preview. That'll be me, Rob, Sarah, Roger, and I think Jason and Gwen are going to join us for that as well. We're all going to be talking about what we expect at CES. That will also be at 10 a.m. Pacific to get you ready for the next week when every day we're live at 10 a.m. Pacific from CES, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, January 5th through the 8th. So there you go. Lots of stuff. Maga Raymond. It's been too long. Good to see you. So we got lots and lots of cool holiday stuff coming down what you might call the pike. Or is it the pipe? Coming down the pipe or coming down the pike? Which do you say? And don't tell me one of them's wrong, because English is a living language. All right. How's it going? Bill, is the chat we see on the stream the Twitch chat? I feel like I need to join there instead, but then I have to join using my phone. My work computer will undoubtedly block Twitch. Yes, StreamYard doesn't automatically add the chat from Patreon or Substack. So Frick Elite, I see you as well. So I have to look at a different window to see the Patreon chat. If you want to join there just to see your chats on the screen, that would be the place to go. But I know I'm not as good as I should be, but I do look at these other chats as well. I have them here on the screen. So yeah, sorry about that, Bill. Okay. I've got a few. These are not even necessarily things I had in mind that I'm doing office hours today. And I'm like, well, let me show some of the stuff I don't end up using on the show. This one isn't something I would ever use on the show. I rarely, Ben Thompson's Stratechery isn't useful for the show, because the show is this happened. NVIDIA announced a deal. OpenAI rolled out a new feature. Somebody is selling regular dial-up phones with Bluetooth in them. Those are all things that were in the show today. Ben is more like, here's a deep dive to understand how a complex issue works in technology. So I'm rarely using that as a news story, and I don't think it's intended to, but he had a really good post today about Google, NVIDIA, and OpenAI and how they interrelate. And I've just figured, you know what? If you are one of the people who's trying to figure out all of this and who's going to win and who's going to prevail and how this is all going to work out and why is Google on top again, and does that mean OpenAI is bad? Just go read Ben. That's the short version. Go read Ben. You'll understand it a lot more. Axios. Oh, you know what? This is one of those things where I'm like, this was like way up high, I think on Tech Meme at the time. Let me see if maybe this is cached. No, they had DeepSeek on top. Who was it? Maybe it was up high on Tech Meme before the DeepSeek thing. Or maybe, oh yeah, no, it's just on, it was on Tech Meme, not way up high, but mid high. And I thought, well, is this one of those stories where it's not a story for the show in the sense of like, there's this venture capitalist in the White House who's advising the president on AI and crypto. That's not really a tech story, except in so much as he is advising about tech, unless he's doing something, unless, he said, and today we're dissolving Google by executive fiat or something, which never happens, right? So I'm like, this is a political story, but is it a political story that I would cover because you are hearing about it when you're reading about technology? You're like, who's this guy? And I decided, no, it is not that, especially because Axios did a great job of talking about this. The New York Times did a story on David Sachs. Now, I tried to be fair to the New York Times, but I am very skeptical when I see a New York Times story these days. I used to love the New York Times. I have a little bitterness about how they treated a good friend of mine who worked there. I try to set that to the side. Nevertheless, I do feel like the New York Times these days often is creating a story, and they're not creating clickbait headlines. They're creating whole stories that are meant to pull in a certain audience. And you're like, yeah, doesn't every news organization do that? And sure. But I find that because of that, a lot of times I have to look extra careful at their stories. So I look at what other people that I trust are saying about their stories before I go to those stories. Oftentimes, New York Times does good, rock solid reporting. But I always double check it, because sometimes you look at it and you're like, they're making a mountain out of a molehill. This is an example of that. So hats off to Dan Premack at Axios. David Sachs is promoting policies in the White House about AI and trying to get AI to win the race with China. Sachs was the subject of a New York Times story whose headline, "Bark was worse than its prose bite." is how they put it. And let's see, let's get to the actual Silicon Valley's man in the White House is benefiting himself and his friends. It's like, oh, so it's a spoils system thing. It's corruption. It's graft. And Axios described it as its argument was that Sachs is inherently conflicted by virtue of his dual roles, that he still holds lots of AI-related investments despite divestitures. These are the sorts of things most of us already knew, although we aren't the New York Times target audience. So the first thing Axios is saying is, yeah, this isn't news. But sure, maybe a lot of people didn't realize it. It's nearly impossible to be an active venture capitalist and not have investments that will be impacted by AI policy. Virtually all startups, regardless of the sector, now refer to AI in their marketing materials and internally are seeking to more deeply integrate the technology. This is the argument that says, would you rather have people who know nothing about the topic advising us, or people who might have a conflict of interest but do know the topic advising us? Social media reaction was loud. Sachs has been an unabashed AI optimist from the jump. Nothing Sachs has done so far, including his push for preemption, is counter to those long-held beliefs. If there's evidence that he's working against his view of the national interest or against competing startups, we've yet to see it. Innuendo doesn't count. So basically, what Axios is saying here is like, he's trying to lift all boats in everything he's done from the White House. Sure, there are disagreements over things like chip exports, which also was true with the Biden administration, but for the most part, Sachs is following conventional Silicon Valley wisdom, a bit similar to when Googlers were omnipresent in the Obama White House. So I like that comparison a lot, which is, yeah, you have companies who advise you on stuff, and you know they have a self-interest, but oftentimes their advice is still valuable. Let's not pretend that Sachs is sacrificing venture capital for the common good. Sachs' driving philosophy is the sort of light touch regulation the industries covet. It doesn't mean every startup will succeed. The reflexive "how dare you" yesterday read as oblivious in some cases, as disingenuous in other words. The bottom line, the administration is very friendly towards the AI industry, believing that the rewards outweigh the risks, and if it's right, those rewards will flow to people like Sachs. That reality isn't new, and it's also not nefarious. Now, you may disagree and say, no, I think it is nefarious, but I kind of came to the end of this going like, okay, so guy advising White House on industry he knows, also still in the industry. Maybe not great, and we could have an argument, but not tech news for sure. Anyway, that's a long way of talking about how that's why I didn't include that in the show. Cheaper gigabyte Raspberry Pi 5 lands as memory costs go through the roof. The Register does very good reporting. The Register's headlines are quite often well crafted to make you click. And they got me with this one because the story is about how Raspberry raised prices across most of its lineup and introduced a new Raspberry Pi with only a gig of RAM. So it didn't sink in like, wait a minute, gig of RAM, that's not much compared to the 2 gig and the 16 gig models they have out there. And it's only $45. So it's the cheapest Raspberry Pi ever, but it also has the lowest amount of RAM of any of the Raspberry Pis you can buy today. So I was like, oh, I don't think this is a story other than Raspberry Pi introduces $45 model with only a gig of RAM. You know, I like BioCow. I remember when a Raspberry Pi was just $35 and we liked it because there was only one version. Battlefield 6. You know what? I ended up not going with this one because I just didn't want to get drawn into the whole anti-cheat thing, because there's a lot of people who have very much invested their identity in whether anti-cheat is good or bad. But yeah, EA was trying to say the Battlefield 6 was cheater-free in 98% of games, saying that their anti-cheat stuff works. And I'm like, first of all, EA saying a big number, a lot of people are going to go, well, how do we know it's true? Probably is true, honestly, but maybe it's inflated, right? Depends on how they counted it. And then you get the whole people of like, they shouldn't do anti-cheat anyway. They don't need to. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready to have that argument. And it's probably, you know, without having outside verification, I'm like, this is squarely video game player news. You could always go with a Pi Zero for $10. No Wi-Fi or Ethernet. Only 256 megabytes of RAM. But hey, $10. All right. So there you go. back to the listener co-host. That's the stories that were in my browser tabs, but I did not include in Daily Tech News Show today. I know I'm only doing this on Monday, and there are stories every day. It'd be a lot of work to collect them throughout the week. But I don't know. You tell me if you're like, I love that. I will go to the $1,000 a month pay. No, I'm kidding. If you're like, I really like that. I think it's worth the effort for you to do it, Tom. Then let me know. Okay. So that's all the prepared stuff I have for the office hours. We'll do the mailbag tomorrow, as we always do. But if you all have questions or just want to chat, we could do the old let's check the sources, let's check the feeds kind of thing. I like doing that. Let's check the feeds first. How about that? And then we'll look at news. Zoe likes the look over stuff that didn't quite make it, but do you need it for the entire week, or is it fun to just be like, whatever's on Monday is interesting? I guess that's what I'm asking. All right, let's get to AirPods. Oh, it's still Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday. It's funny how Black Friday lasted a month, but Cyber Monday is only a week. Oh, can Raspberry Pi run a full OS yet? I mean, depending on how you define OS. Did you engage in any turkey on Thursday? I did. We got a half turkey spatchcocked from Trader Joe's and cooked it in the oven. Took about an hour and 15 minutes. It was delicious. Still have a little bit left over. Have you seen the movie Good Boy yet? No, I have not. Why do we get Black Friday in the UK? Because sales. Because they found out, like, if you say sales, it doesn't really matter what it's called. People will go, ooh, sale. What does Cyber Monday even mean anymore? Oh, I see Bill has made it past his firewall. Enjoy it. Hey, Nicholas. Good to see everybody there. Bill also says, I avoid these cheaters in multiplayer games by not playing them because I'm bad at them. Bill is everywhere. All right, back to this. Glassworm malware. NVIDIA announces new OpenAI models and tools for autonomous driving research. Maybe. I'll have to look into that and see. AWS reInvent is tomorrow. San Francisco Opera has a hit with Huang Ruo's Spectacular Monkey King. Oh, based on Journey to the West, I would guess. Life in St. Louis. MKBHD's wallpaper app Panels is shutting down. Goodbye. NVIDIA takes $2 billion in Synopsys. We had that in the show today. Megan Thee Stallion wins a defamation suit. Why don't Norwegians hate Tesla? Yeah, Norwegians. Why don't you hate him? Supreme Court wrestles with copyright dispute between Cox and the record labels. I'm very curious what's going to happen with that. Of course, we won't know for a long time because it's not like they'll have the decision tomorrow. Paramount Plus sets true crime docuseries Handsome Devil. Intel, Apple computers. We had that in DTH on Friday and a little bit in the show via an email. EV sticker shock. Okay. Looks like that's the story there. Highly recommended Tom. No harm comes to the dog. Oh, okay. This is Good Boy, the movie. I found there's a chat-only mode in Twitch on my phone. Oh, okay. So you're chatting on Twitch, but streaming on Patreon. That's what Bill, I think, is doing, if I'm reading this correctly. And that way the chats show up here. 98% cheat-free. Doesn't that mean 1 out of 50 games has a cheater in it? 49 out of 50 games are cheat-free. Also numbers. Yep. That's the way you do it. Okay, let's look at Google News. Samsung phones are in for a major wireless charging upgrade. You will always see, and I am not diminishing the people who write the stories, you will always see an iPhone rumor and a Samsung rumor on Google News every day, all the time. Good Boy is a horror movie from the dog's point of view, but it's more of a love letter to the loyalty and love of a dog for his humans. Aww. What if the cheater was the statistician? Asks Stealth Dave. Cyber Monday laptop deals live. Oh, this isn't really news, but Ars Technica has a great interview and profile with Ron Gilbert. If you don't know Ron Gilbert, he made a game you like, whether it's Monkey Island or Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade or Maniac Mansion or something like that. He probably made a game you like. CDPR still promises 3 Witcher sequels in the next decade. Of course, Netflix ending casting. That was our big story today. Cyber Monday. I just mentioned this. The panel's wallpaper app shutting down at the end of the year. All right, let's find. Let's find out why. Part of the visual aspect was part of the, according to the panel's team, the app is officially shutting down, reportedly unsustainable over a long period, and failed to live up to the team's vision, even though it reached the top of the charts in the Play Store and the App Store. Those who paid for annual subscriptions will be pleased to know the team plans to initiate the refund process on December 31st. The app's code will be made available after the shutdown is complete, allowing others to pick up where the panel's app stopped. So basically they're saying it wasn't making enough money without saying that, and so they're not going to do it anymore. Being a dog lover, I thought of you after I watched it, and I think you'll like it a lot. All right, thanks, Adam12. I appreciate the recommendation. Spooky and very touching. BioCow is talking to himself. If you're not participating in at least 2 platforms, then you're doing it wrong, BioCow says to BioCow. That's funny. Bill Russell gives it all a thumbs up, but you can't see it because it's on Patreon. Microsoft's ugly sweaters return with clippy Xbox and Zune brown options. Retro holiday sweaters. Microsoft has included the Copilot AI logo on this year's ugly Windows Christmas sweater. Artifact is the name of it. You can buy it at the company store. Pre-order for $80. And you get Clippy right in the middle. Smartphones at age 12 linked to worse health. We had that in the show today. Let's see. Yeah, that's about good. Let's look at the subreddit. What's in the subreddit? Oh, is Judy Greer in Good Boy? Adam 12. I mean, you had kind of convinced me, but that seals it. Love Judy Greer. Black Friday spending up 10%. Is that a lot? It seems to always go up every year. Japanese beer giant Asahi says data breach hit 1.5 million people, but the beer is back on the shelves. We did the India state-owned security app. Zillow property listings no longer show risk of fire, floods, and storms. Oh, well, that's not, I think the flood risk is like a legal requirement. Granted, Zillow doesn't have to give you every legal requirement, but the change follows complaints that climate risk scores were making properties less desirable. Well, yeah, they would, wouldn't they? All right. Sales volume was down 1%. Money up 10%, volume down 1%. Well, then you're pricing things right. On Shudder and A&E. Good Boy is part of Hulu's horror series that is really hard to find on IMDb because it's listed as a TV show. Let's see if Just Watch still works. I'm waiting for the day where I go to Just Watch and they've just given up because I don't know that they are making a go of it, but I hope they can. Watch now on Amazon Video or AMC Plus, Crunchyroll, Philo, Shudder, Indie. Wow. Oh, because you just rent it. So if you get Shudder, you don't have to rent it. All right. Crunchyroll has it. Oh, well, I don't know if that's true. Watch for free. Crunchyroll says you can watch it for free on Crunchyroll, but you're saying you can watch it on Shudder for free too. So this says it's on Crunchyroll for streaming. Oh, no, it says Good Boy is not available for free. It's not available for free, but you're showing it on Shudder. I think Just Watch is broken. You can also go see it in a theater. What happens if I want to buy tickets? Yeah, there's none available. It's not showing anywhere. It's probably in a theater somewhere. Oh, what a good boy. Look at that face. What a good boy. Just Watch has steered me wrong on a streaming service for Buffy. Yeah, it's getting harder to find out where stuff is. I use Apple TV's app pretty regularly now, but it doesn't always have everything either. All right. I saw dolphins yesterday by accident. You know, people pay good money to go find the dolphins, and I found them by walking our dog on the beach. We had not taken Seven, our dog, to the beach, and so Sunday morning, we're like, all right, let's go. Let's make the drive. If you're like, why didn't you take him to the beach? He's a year and a half old. You live in LA. Driving with Seven is a challenge. He whines when he's excited about going somewhere in a car with us. Doesn't always do it with other people, but he does it with us. And so the idea of spending 30 minutes on the interstate, getting to the beach, which is what we would have had to do, which is what we did do, was daunting. But we did it. It was all right. He wasn't the worst he's ever been whining. It was dealable. And we got to the beach and he had a great time. And there were dolphins just swimming right along the shore. Just like, hey, what's up? If surfers, we're dolphins. We want to say hi. So, yeah. Seven had a great time. We found out he loves the water, loves the beach, wants to get into the ocean and swim and become a dolphin someday. So we will definitely be trying to figure out how to get him back to the beach in a way that doesn't make us lose our minds while he's whining in the car about how excited he is to go to the beach. But yeah, that was super fun. In fact, I posted it on Instagram, but I can show you a little video of him at the beach. Which one has the, I think this one does. I'm going to have to add my screen back again so that you can see this. I think this is the video that has him in it. So that's just him walking along the beach. And then you'll see Eileen over there. She's just filming the ocean, and she's like, there's dolphins. So I'm like, wait, what? There's dolphins? And then I look, and I see a dolphin. And I'm like, wait a minute. Let me zoom in. Is it still there? Where is it? Oh, wait, there it is. Oh, wait, there's a bunch of them. And then I turn to Seven, and I'm like, dude, do you see the dolphins? And he's like, wait, I think I see the dolphins. Wait, I also smell this thing over here. So there you go. That we didn't find out what the dolphins thought of Seven, so I wish I should have asked. Most beaches in LA don't allow dogs, so it takes some effort to get to a beach where they are allowed. There's that too. There's the beaches that don't allow dogs, and you will get in trouble. There's the beaches that don't allow dogs, but if you're responsible, you might get away with it. You probably will get away with it. There's the beaches where it is okay, but they have to be on leash. There's the beaches where they have to be on leash, but everybody else has their dogs off leash. And then there's the dog-friendly ones. There's actually a couple of those. Those are more in the south area, like Redondo, Huntington Beach, where they like have specific dog beaches where your dog can just be off leash. It's pretty great. Oh, man, Ambassador Domo, I wish we had a dog that would fall asleep in the car. So long, and thanks for all the dog bones. Long Beach has Rosie's Beach. Yeah, we've been to the Rosie's Beach. Not with 7, of course, but with previous dogs. We have been there. All right. Anything else? Should we look at the news one more time? Not really. There's nothing there. Any questions about anything else about the listener co-host thing? I have to go post that to Substack right now. Thanks everybody for being wonderful and supporting us and being here for the show all the time. Back with the mailbag tomorrow. You never know who might drop by. I don't have a hangout guest this week, so it's anybody it could be anybody. I don't want to say anybody could show up because then that makes it sound like I've just got the door wide open. But yeah, it'll be a surprise to you and me at this point. Thanks everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, have a good day.